where we dive into the mysterious, the unexplained, and the downright otherworldly. In this cryptid corner of the airways, we'll explore alien encounters, ancient artifacts, and instrumental oddities. Buckle up, my friends, because truth is stranger than fiction, and you're about to embark on a cosmic journey. Welcome to the XENO.
It's okay to talk while they're clapping, buddy.
You think? Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt them or nothing.
No, it's okay.
I didn't want to hurt their feelings or nothing.
Nah, screw them.
All right, folks, welcome to the second episode of a new show here on the FFN network. This is the XENO Files. I'll be your host this evening, along with Blazeman and Mr. B and Nomad. So we'll bring them in shortly. This is a live talk show. We would appreciate calls. So anybody that wants to call in and talk to us, we'd love to talk to you. A little bit of housekeeping stuff first. We curate when we're doing our research for these shows that we put on. We do a little bit of a lot of videos and a lot of print research, that kind of thing. So when you see the videos that we're going to be showing you tonight, and throughout I'm assuming all the shows in the FFN network, check out the curators of those and maybe follow them and give them a like, because that helps us. That helps everybody bring more stuff into our world. Exactly. And especially us here, the more likes and the more, you guys know how this works. You know, the thing, you know that thing, the Constitution thing. Yeah. Anyway, so likes, follows, but we try to get the best content that we can when we do these shows. And the folks that we hook up with are really, really good. They've got some great information. So like them and so forth.
Exactly.
Our opinions are our own. They are not reflective of our sponsors, of the FFN network, I-12GIA, Peace of Mind Training, and Global Elite Tactical Training. So all housekeeping is done. So tonight's topic is going to be Antarctica Treaty and how that relates to aliens, pyramids, UFOs, flat Earths. Oh my! Okay, to quote Dorothy. So let's go ahead and bring in our first guest of the evening, which will be Mr. B. And there he is.
What's up, buddy? How we doing? I'm outstanding. Actually, I'm inside sitting right now. But you guys look like you're doing all right, and we're ready to go ahead and launch this bad boy and see where.
Are you ready? Are you ready, B? Because we're gonna blow your mind tonight, bro.
We are. It's good stuff.
You gotta keep that mind open.
Absolutely.
Everybody who's tuning into the show tonight, okay? Even if you're sitting there and you're laughing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not a big deal. You know?
Aluminum foil hats are welcome for this show.
Absolutely,
this
absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and bring in my friend and compatriot, Nomad.
Are you sure you want to bring him in? Because he's probably already got aluminum foil on.
I think he has some embedded in his skull anyway.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a steel plate in there.
Yeah. He's also a colleague of the I-12 guys on the I-12 show on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on the FFN network. Let's welcome in Mr. Nomad.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, sir, how you doing? Gentlemen, how are we doing? This will be, thank you, this will be an interesting show.
Oh, yeah, we're going to try to blow a lot of minds tonight. Hello, Ann. Say hello, guys. Ann,
hey, Ann.
In the comment section.
Hey, Ann. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ann. Thank you.
Welcome in, young lady.
All right, give us a call.
Don't forget to like and share us, Ann. And like we had explained before other viewers came on, we don't know if you caught this, but all the content that we show on any of the shows on the FFN network, we greatly appreciate the creators that created the videos, and especially from YouTube. And we encourage everyone, if you see a video on here, to go on the YouTube and like, and if you like it good enough, you can subscribe to it. But we'd appreciate if you sent out a like, because, either it's a ton more work for me or these people already help us out a little bit. So we like to give them a round of applause for the work that they do for us. Okay,
All right.
Fogman,
Yep.
what's going on tonight?
Let's go ahead and run up this first video on the Antarctica Treaty, and then we'll
Okay.
discuss it afterwards.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Antarctica Treaty, decades. Here we go. I'm scared already. I'm just saying.
You're not going to get probed. Don't worry about it, buddy. It should be okay.
I hope not, man.
For centuries, resources and square footage have been the source of conflict, violence, and diplomacy in every corner of the world. Conquerors, explorers, and countries, all making claims to pieces of the earth. But for reasons that are as apparent as the breath-stealing cold that greets its visitors, Antarctica has remained a place for peace, cooperation, and science for more than 5 decades, thanks to a historic agreement. On June 23, 1961, the Antarctic Treaty officially took effect. The agreement, signed by 12 founding countries, was the first to ban nuclear testing and military activities at a specific region on Earth. It's a doctrine that also keeps a frozen island continent a wholly international land. Before the treaty was signed, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, France, Norway, Chile, and Argentina all had claims on parts of Antarctica. Some even overlapped. The wording of the treaty doesn't kill those stakes, but it does say no other country can claim a piece of Antarctica for its own. On top of establishing the first region of international cooperation, the Antarctic Treaty also bans all military operations unless military equipment is being used for scientific or peaceful purposes. Calls for scientific cooperation involving plans and the sharing of study results, and demands any operations on the continent be purely peaceful in nature. Mining and drilling for oil were also banned in a separate treaty in 1991. More than 5 decades after it was first signed, over 50 nations are now a part of the Antarctic Treaty. A historic international showing of goodwill to make sure one of the most fascinating and fragile lands on Earth stays that way for decades to come.
What do you think about that?
Wow.
Nomad, I know you have some input on what's going on with there.
I'm sitting here. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here and I'm calling on Nomad, and I got my damn mic muted, because I was already messed up already. Go ahead,
All right,
Nomad.
fellas. Sorry. Thank you, fellas. It's a very interesting situation down there. Just prior to coming on air, I shared with all you guys, and I'll say this again for the public. I just spoke to somebody who came back from there about less than 12 weeks ago. And he's involved with some stuff involving research. And the research entity that he works for, the largest client that company has as a defense contractor is U.S. Navy. And some of the technology that's been used down there is deep sea, real deep sea. And while the Arctic and Antarctic are not dissimilar in relation to density, depth, ice, and all the risks that go with anything being a submariner, the technology involved seemingly in Antarctica is a little bit more advanced than one would normally have. And the level of interest from non-US interest is quite high. Another individual I spoke about was a lady who worked for an international news agency who was on a photographic assignment down there. And before she left the research stations, they took her footage and screened it before she was left to take off on the flight. Everything is controlled down there, from pollution, environmental, and everything else on the surface. But however, most of the stuff, like an iceberg, is below the surface. So there is some activity there, and there is some reason for all of a sudden everybody having a similar thing. And the last thing I'll say, just to give the Fogman a lead on this, is that similar treaties that they're talking about with the Antarctic Treaty is now being talked about for the moon.
No, that's really interesting. So what do you think, natural resources?
Yes, and strategic placement in relation to assets, defense assets.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. B. What do you got, buddy?
No, man, I want to throw this question out and see if it sticks a claw into what you're talking about. I recently have come to know that apparently they have been making finds down in the Antarctic regions, actual entire dinosaur bones laid out and so forth, finding out that there were actual colonies of different types of 2 and 4-legged prehistoric, pre-recorded history animals and so forth on that continent. And I'm starting to wonder if at all, any of this ties into what you're discussing.
It's a very interesting point you bring up, Mr. B, because there was a map in the 1500s called the Piri-Reis map, which was a Turkish Ottoman Empire, 1512 or whatever. It shows Antarctica without ice, and some of the flora and fauna, some of the actual animals and wildlife and stuff down there. Ice preserves things. So yes, there's been a lot of sort of discoveries down there in relation to that. Geologists shouldn't have anything to do where there's ice. It's rock. What does ice have to do with geology? So there's something under the surface, and then there's also found with hydro and with ground penetrating radar specialized elements in relation to ice flow. Some of these ice packs are over a mile deep, so and a mile high. So you'd need some extra technology to get stuff like that. The only people that have that technology primarily used are salvage by U.S. Navy for deep sea submersibles and underwater vehicles. So yes, there's something there.
That kind of makes sense. When researching this, this is kind of a new area for me at Antarctica, and that's what got my attention. Is there's a lot going on. So I took a look at conspiracy theories and what's happening there now. And what I discovered there's secret military bases and activities, which include old Nazi bases and U.S. military operations. There are hidden civilizations and ancient aliens, either lost or alien bases. There are undisclosed natural resources containing vast mineral wealths. There's also a hollow Earth theory, and I also found something on there's the flat Earth people think it has something to do with Antarctica also.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I know, right? Climate and environmental cover-ups in the form of climate manipulation and suppression of scientific discoveries. The global elite and New World Order are supposed to be active or have an interest in Antarctica, which includes the elite retreats, which special places for them to go live when the world comes to an end, and the Bilderberg Group. Now, Operation High Jump was kind of interesting. It's a actual United States Navy missions conducted in Antarctica from 1946 to 1947. Conspiracy theorists claim that its true purpose was to investigate or confront secret Nazi bases or extraterrestrial presences, rather than the publicly stated goal of establishing research bases and training personnel. And finally, secret portals and time travels in the form of interdimensional portals. So everybody seems to have an opinion on what's going on in Antarctica, and what we're going to do tonight is discuss all that and see if we can't get to the bottom of some of it. Okay? So let's go ahead on our next video, which is going to be Admiral Byrd's story. He's the first human to go explore that, or first person to go explore that area. I'm going to go ahead and run that video
JFK. Dan says JFK was president then, yeah.
Yep.
All right. This is pretty interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to show about 5 or 6 minutes of it. But we will put depending on how intriguing it is to everybody, because we could pause the video, talk, and then restart the video like we've done in the past. Now, with that being said, if it doesn't happen that way, this is a 30-minute semi-documentary, and we will load it up on the FFN radio network for everyone to see. Again, we encourage everyone to go, if you could, on the YouTube and the person who created this video. And is everybody ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. I don't know how many of you follow this, but this is mind blowing. All right, let's go.
What is the
I just have to say real quick, I'm getting like a television feedback from somebody, so if everybody could check, I'd appreciate that.
What is the Antarctica? A strange land? What does it really represent to us? An unexplored area, even to this day? Or could it be a portal? A portal to another world? An inner world? In today's exploration, we'll explore the inner world, Admiral Byrd's story. Is the Antarctica really a gateway? What kind of gateway, if it is? A physical gateway to another realm? An internal gateway to an inner world? Or is it a gateway through a dimension? Richard Evelyn Byrd, Rear Admiral in the United States Navy, a hero, an Antarctic explorer, and a pioneering aviator. What is it about Richard E. Byrd that inspires us? What did he really achieve in his life? In Operation High Jump the Saga, we looked at all the different aspects of it, and we looked at the official accounts. Yet Richard E. Byrd continues as an amazing hero. Seen here in his impeccable tie under his flight suit, he managed to cultivate a heroic personality around himself, first through his aviation exploits of reaching the North Pole, and then his explorations of Antarctica, which dominated the remnants of his career. In fact, it was his successful exploration of Antarctica in the the late 1920s, that facilitated his promotion to Rear Admiral, the youngest admiral at 41 in the history of the United States Navy. His ship that he conducted this exploration in was even featured in the Chicago World's Fair, A Century of Progress. How was it Admiral Byrd was able to achieve all these incredible feats? He even had a ticker tape parade. Admiral Byrd was well-traveled, and he had many friends with powerful, influential individuals, such as the Rockefellers, the Fords, and he was ingratiated with the command of the United States Navy. Not just anyone gets a ticker tape parade, and keep in mind this is a ticker tape parade in the early 1930s. I mean, just think on it. The Great Depression's happened, you see your friend about to jump out the window and you say, "Don't go jump out that window, Admiral Byrd's coming through, there's a ticker tape parade. If we're lucky, we might get to see him in person for an entire minute. We might be really lucky, and he'll look our way when he's giving his speech, or he's driving by in his car." Consider this, a full ticker tape parade for an Antarctic explorer, at a time when the nation was facing its Great Depression, yet it didn't stop people from turning out in mass droves to support Admiral Byrd in numerous cities, including New York City. This wasn't the victory parade of World War II or World War I. This was an individual who had achieved an exploration's goal. Byrd and his men acclaimed by city, wildly cheered in Broadway parade. Walker bestows medals of merit. Admiral Byrd was a hero. He even called it a hero business. Even the Beatles didn't get a ticker tape parade, aside from the faux one that they did in this picture. Now, they may have received a ticker tape parade, but there were a lot of controversies about the Beatles, especially when John Lennon had the temerity to suggest that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus Christ. This didn't go over too well, and there were many people who burned the Beatles in effigy and said that they were outside the line in what John Lennon had proclaimed. Of course, John Lennon didn't have the temerity to say that the Beatles were more popular than Richard E. Byrd. He wasn't crazy. That would have sent him back to the United Kingdom in many different boxes, without a doubt. You don't badmouth Richard E. Byrd. These explorers are very famous people. Look at Captain James Cook. During the Revolutionary War, there was an order for American forces not to attack him. He was a British explorer. He bears a striking resemblance to actor Julian Glover, a.k.a. General Veers from Empire Strikes Back. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Back to Richard E. Byrd, 1888 to 1957, and when he passed away, you see that he has a very modest standard issue U.S. military headstone. But what's the real story behind Richard E. Byrd?
I don't know.
How is he able to parlay his experiences into such success? We looked at it in Operation High Jump, the saga, and now we're going to look at what his achievements were. In recapping our conclusions from the High Jump mission, we theorized 3 objectives: search and destroy for Wehrmacht remnants, the remnants of the Nazi Germany military, which we discounted because they certainly would have fought in Germany and not gone to the Antarctica. Goal 2, establish sovereign claim for the United States for resource exploitation. Yet this didn't make a lot of sense because in all the footage and in all the accounts we see, there seem to be no provisions for even exploring for resources. Did they have the ability to detect for uranium, oil, and coal that they said was available in vast quantities in the Antarctica? So how would they know those resources were there? And then the final goal, which we believe is the most likely, search for access points to uncharted lands, inner or outer world, and evaluate a threat from those lands and their accessibility. We also refer to the Philadelphia experiment, a means to access different dimensions. However, these were all theories. We're going to look into it in more depth, though. Going back to the facts at the end of the last exploration concerning Operation High Jump, we recall that there were a vast number of unaccounted for.
Now, I want to throw this in there because the Navy, you know what I mean, and government or whatever, they sent him out there.
Yep.
And one of the reasons they sent him out there is like what Fogman was saying. Hola there, Charlie.
Hey, Rennie, what's going on, buddy?
Okay. Yeah. The reason why they sent them out there is like Fogman said, you know what I mean? They wanted to see if the Germans were, you know, building stuff out there in, you know, Antarctica. But I haven't seen this documentary. The one I watched is like, it was 90 minutes and it was incredible. And I'm going to try to find that one and also load that on the FFN Radio Network, a Facebook page. That was his job to go there and do that. And what happened is he seen something.
Something, yeah.
Okay. That just, you know, totally blew, you know, his mind. And just, I'm going to throw this out there. Okay, guys, private chats. Don't throw your comments in it, please. If you're going to say something, just say it. Yeah. That's all. Just jump right in. Say, hey, can you pause that? You know, and just jump in. Okay?
Go ahead, Go ahead.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. I think I mentioned on a previous show, going back a few weeks back, I mentioned about a particular type of diesel fuel that was used by the Nazi U-boats, and discovered some evidence of that Nazi U-boats were in the Antarctic. Basically, back in about 1937, 38, Hitler sent an expedition to the Antarctic, and it was to counter the claim by, I think it was Norway, of a claim for what they call Queen Maud land. And that's where they got it from. Recently, what's come out in declassified information is that those same charts in 38, once Enigma, that code breaking machine that they had, cipher, was captured by the US Navy. Some of those charts,
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, some of those charts used by the Nazi U-boats came into the US Navy's hands, and then 2-3 years after World War II finishes, guess what? Operation High Jump starts. Just say it.
That's interesting. Okay,
that is crazy. And could you please explain just a little bit of what the high jump is about, and so people can understand?
I think Fogman has more than me, but my understanding of it from Operation High Jump was that it was there primarily from a research point of view and to establish what they call Little America, or Base America. I can't remember what it was called, but it was primarily to set up a field operation, a base on Antarctica. The other aspect of it that wasn't admitted until later on. It was similar to like Project Blue Book that US Air Force had with UFOs, which we'll talk about later on, was also to find another route by way they could circumnavigate some of the acoustic radar devices that the Soviet Union was putting in place. So they were looking for another way around to get at the Russians. But what they used was a combination of ancient world stuff, the former enemy of the US and allies, Germany, and we used everything they had from their V2 rocket propulsions to become our space program and our ICBM programs. We used they used a lot of stuff. And the last thing is, Hitler was a huge believer in the occult. So he absolutely, anything that smacked of any type of mysticism, he took a hold of, and he sent people out there. I think, yeah, I'll stop at that for now.
No. So I'm just agreeing with you.
wait,
I'm sorry.
Where Mr. B had something there. Where'd he go?
That's okay. He'll be back.
Okay.
He must have
Gone?
lost connection. But,
All right.
okay, guys. Go ahead.
Sir. All right. So the technology that the Nazis had was far more advanced in everything they have. It's only coming to light now, 80, 90 years on. The Nazis were way ahead of their time in relation to exploring stuff outside of the box, because they knew that the experience of Germany when the Lusitania was sunk off the Irish coast in 1917, which brought the Americans into the war.
The Nazi at that time, the Nazi technology was like 10 years ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
okay?
if not more.
So like do the math, you know what I mean? 1950s to 60s is when we started, messing with the H-bomb and really understanding some of the shit.
Jet aircraft.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jet aircraft.
A strange alien ship-looking jet aircraft.
Right. And who was to say that maybe some of those observations from Army and Air Force pilots when they were saying they were seeing Foo Fighters? Who knows if that was like, a German jet further away, because obviously they'll be able to, say what it was. But anyways, but also Foo Fighters were like orbs. Also flying next to the planes and stuff. So, as far as the jet technology, but, go ahead, man.
Yeah, shall we go ahead and continue with the video and see what happens to Admiral Byrd here?
Yeah, let's
get his life turned to shit, certainly.
Because after a while, they thought he was fucking nuts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even though he had crew members on the ship that were like, saying the same thing, but, even back then, it was like more crazy than it is now. I mean, back then, there was like Men in Black shit. You know what I mean? They were showing up and like literally like, you open your mouth, we'll kill your entire family. You know what I mean? So, I mean, not that they're not doing that now, but, All right.
Hear about it. Okay.
Let's go. All right. Let me bring B back in here. All right. Don't ever do that again. All right. Here we go. But what we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, though, I apologize, is take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to finish up with a video in a world Admiral Byrd story. Okay, and Dan 43 watching this live stream feels like attending a virtual concert. Oh, well,
thanks, Dan.
Hey, there's a lot of kiss asses on Trivia. I gotta tell you that. Man.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
I don't know. I don't know if those are bots or anything like that. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, but
one never knows. Whatever works.
Correct.
We'll take it. We'll take any pat on the back we can possibly get.
Exactly. Now somebody said hi, so now I gotta go bring up another screen and check the count there. Anyways, all right, I gotta do my job. But ladies and gentlemen, stick around, man, and we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes with more of the XENO Files.
My name is Steven, your public relations officer at FFN Media Network. We believe that every story deserves to be heard. Every voice deserves to be amplified, and every idea deserves to shine. As a small media company, we are committed to creating a platform where content creators, visionaries, and changemakers like you can thrive. You might say to yourself, why do we need FFN Network? Well, let me tell you what we can do for you. 1. Our mission is simple: empower, elevate, and engage. We are not just another media outlet. 2. Our producers will help you build your show, add content, and put you on 15 different platforms. 3. We help you promote your show. Whether it is through captivating articles, thought-provoking videos, or inspiring podcasts, we are here to help you make a difference. What sets us apart? At FFN Media Network, we embrace hard work. Our team of talented producers and creators come from all social classes, ensuring that our content reflects a rich tapestry of experiences, cultures, and viewpoints. Join the FFN team. Join FFN Media Network and Be part of a community that celebrates creativity, authenticity, and positive impact. Let us amplify your voice and share your story on FFN Network and with the world. Get to know our founder, Blaise St. Pierre, the new guy in the media industry. So if you have a great idea for a show or a business and want to place an ad on FFN Network, give us a call at 774-704-5145 or email us at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com and join the FFN Network family. Thank you. FFN Network.
Files, where we dive into the mysterious, the unexplained, and the downright otherworldly. In this cryptid corner of the airways, we'll explore alien encounters, ancient artifacts, and instrumental oddities. Buckle up, my friends, because truth is stranger than fiction, and you're about to embark on a cosmic journey. Welcome to the XENO
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back, man. And if you love conspiracies, if you love, you know what I mean, what the hell is that in the sky? If you love, I think the earth is flat. If you love secret bases and all of that fun stuff, then you are here in the right place with the Xenophiles. I like to announce the guys again, and down the bottom, on the bottom right corner, there is the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. B. And above him is, again, a new guy. You know, we got to come up with a name for him, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we got to give him a nickname, all right? Right now, he is Nomad, right? But we got to give, I think he deserves a better nickname than that. So, moving on. Of course, myself, Blaze Man, and my sidekick that just loves all of this crazy conspiracy aliens and secret bases under the fucking water and all that shit. Excuse my French. My boy right here, Fogman. What's going on, buddy?
Hey,
so,
folks.
we're going to get ready and we're going to finish up this video, and then we will talk more about it. Who is? All right. Just saw the streamer's new program promotion. So thrilled.
I think you're right. They are bots. Nobody talks like that.
Yeah. Exactly,
No.
man.
No.
I mean, shit.
No.
If you was here in front of me, I would definitely hand you a fucking roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, pretty
much. Wipe that shit off your nose.
Or U.S. military.
Terrible.
Since we're talking
I'm
about these
freaking terrible. Oh my god! I hope it's a bot. I swear to God.
Yeah, really. Yeah. If not,
I just insulted the hell out of him, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, back to Inner World Admiral Byrd's story.
Personnel from World War II, over 70,000.
Laughing.
This is a very surprising fact because the United States decisively won World War II, to the point that it effectively occupied both opponent nations in Germany and Japan, and in all the lands that they fought on. So how could there be so many unaccounted for personnel? Furthermore, when we look at the World War II casualties, we see that the Axis military had a near 2-to-1 casualty advantage, and there was a vast advantage to the Axis in civilians killed. Now, of course, we'll justify this by saying that the Axis were dirty cheaters, or most of those casualties were sustained by the Soviet Union and China. None of the Western nations, the United States or the European nations, sustained such great casualties amongst their military and civilians. Yet, it's still bizarre and it's baffling at the same time. Looking at the United States Navy from World War II, we recall that Admiral Byrd had a sailing ship when he went down to his first exploration of the Antarctic in the late 1920s, and a couple planes that were attached to it. However, he would upgrade his assets considerably when he went in Operation High Jump, as he had an Essex-class United States aircraft carrier as his flagship. We refer to the Essex class because it was the most powerful and widely available U.S. aircraft carrier at the time. 24 were constructed for World War II, and it was a very effective and successful design. No other capital ship has ever been constructed in such number. And it was very survivable too. This is the USS Franklin, an aircraft carrier that had taken direct bomb attacks while it was supporting operations in the Battle of Okinawa and was only 50 miles off of Japan. It took several bomb attacks while it had fully armed aircraft on the deck and below the deck. These explosions killed over 700 sailors. The ship suffered many casualties, and yet it did not sink. Despite this horrific damage, it was able to return for emergency repairs and made it back to the United States to be refitted. No Essex carrier was ever sunk. Bottom line up front, these ships were very survivable and durable. Now, why do we make such a big deal about the Essex-class carrier?
Yeah.
Because
Let's
there
go ahead and pause
was
for
an
a
Essex-class...
Yeah, what do you got, bud? Nomad?
Yeah, that's interesting stuff. But I think people are, get a general idea that he upgraded because the perceived reward of what he was actually going to do. He obviously went up. It wasn't the fact that he was going out on a shoestring budget by going on a sailing ship in the 20s. It just meant that the actual displacement of the vessel was lighter than something that was, heavier in the water and would obviously affect the surveys that they were doing. The people should realize that even though it was the 1920s that he went down there, not all modern technology is exclusively, mid 20th century. The Egyptians had stuff thousands of years in advance, way back when. So just because it says 1920s doesn't mean that it wasn't stuff that was 1950s, 1960s as regards, technology, right? Because when you hear something is demilitarized from the military, it's already 10, 15 years out of date by the time it comes down to the civilian market. Right. Secondly, going back to it again, when you think about the timing of these events, right? Hitler had sent out an actual expedition to counter the Norwegian claim on Queen Maud, but he also, and Hitler being an exceptional character for lots of reasons, and I come to the point, he fused superstition, the occult, research, and history all into one ball. So he did not restrict his scientists purely to stay within the scientific or academic ways of looking at things. He wanted answers so he could actually have his right for 1,000 years. And if you remember, his allies were the Japanese over in the east, but also the Italians. So you're looking at ancient empires and people also that had a closer proximity to some of these places. So old shipping maps, old folklore, old tales. Hitler took all of those in his mania and said, go find out and go find me something that makes us exclusive. And so the mindset of that time between the end of World War I and the start of World War II, those 20 years were exceptional in relation to advances in technology. Radio, telegraphy, everything happened. All the technology in World War II came about those 20 years. Radar came around that same time. The jet engine came around that same time. So don't be stuck in the mud thinking it was 1920s. They didn't know crap. Yes, they knew a lot of stuff. They just didn't make it public. That's it.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue on with this video. Let's finish this one up here pretty quick, I think.
Class carrier available to Admiral Byrd as his flagship, the USS Philippine Sea. And finally, there were many Essex-class carriers in the war. And here looking at the U.S. Navy active strength, so much so that he decided to support Truman's opponent Dewey and promised to support him and serve as Secretary of Defense if Dewey. And then they recanted the recant of their account, and then they recanted their account. Experiment. Life. As according to the official account, he committed suicide. There are many accounts of what the United States Navy did during World War II, including the Philadelphia experiment, which was simply a rumor, although the individual that relayed the story had recanted their account, and then they recanted the recant of their account, and then they recanted the recant of the account. Does that get a little confusing? I keep flip-flopping back and forth. Is that simply to bring about confusion, or does that seem like someone who's bowing to personal pressure, as in this was a story they were not supposed to share? The USS Eldridge, which supposedly was rendered invisible, and yet there was a horrifying mistake in the experiment which caused many sailors to lose their lives. We look at the Antarctic region, and we see how it looks today. with many bases from many different nations, and supposedly having claims that were prior to the Antarctic Treaty of 1959. We see all the different bases across the Antarctic. Of course, we don't really know exactly what the Antarctica really looks like. The map and the ability to actually look at it is classified. Yes, we have an idea of what its supposed general outer shape is, and we can see where the bases are located and what nations have control of the bases or operate the bases. It's also interesting that according to the treaty, there's to be no military presence there. Therefore, there has to be a military presence there to ensure that there is no military presence there. Are you getting the hint that I'm getting that there's a lot of contradictions with this account? What's truly going on? Why is every nation involved in basing across the Antarctica? What's the real story behind it? The United States seems to have the most bases, and it also seems to have the most access to what would be considered the South Pole, where the U.S. base Amundsen Scott is located, and the access point for McMurdo Base.
Okay,
it's very strange, and yet it was the United States that spearheaded the explorations of the Antarctica.
Let's find out what happened to Admiral Byrd.
Command of Rear Admiral Richard Byrd. In fact, Antarctica supposedly came from. The problem is the diary is missing, and we have a lot of innuendo by Aaron Eckhart and Hilary Swank. Oh, wait a minute, that was just a movie. The Core. And it was not a very good movie in my humble opinion, but regardless, it did show, though, that this is what they believe. But other theories indicate that there's an inner world, lands with on the inside of a concentric sphere.
That's what
now,
he's
could
saying.
this be the actual existence? Or could this simply be another way to try to explain lands that exist beyond?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yes, of course, we're told that...
you know what I mean? At some point, you know,
spheroid.
what this guy's
Other theories indicate that it may be a crater. It may be flat. You can fly up to 40 to 60,000 feet and you won't see much curvature. Of course, you're told that you just need to go higher. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I can tell you what the official statement is from mainstream accounts, that it's a sphere or an obloid spheroid. Yet we see many different things. There's many different theories, and there's also the facet of what did human beings believe in the past. We'll be told by the mainstream account that they always believed that it was a sphere, that even the ancient Greeks knew it and they were able to extrapolate an equation to give them a good idea of what the circumference of this sphere was. Yet there's other accounts that seem to indicate that even as late as the late 19th century, they had different ideas for what the true shape of the land, the realm, was. These are oftentimes difficult things to talk about, because there's a lot of high emotion associated with them, and the evidence seems to contradict itself. There's evidence for both, and we can already tell there's a discrepancy between what's reported. Now, accordingly, these are the strength numbers at the end of each fiscal year, and the United States military ends its fiscal year with the United States government from September to October. So at the end of 1945, the United States had 6,768 ships available. Let's pay attention.
Okay, so yeah, for me, yeah, I think we're going to be done with that because it's not.
No,
I
that's
thought
not
it
really
was. Yeah, I thought it was going to explain a lot more. But next show, I'll have the right one. I apologize to the viewership on that one.
Yeah, not sure what happened about this. Weird. Okay. Anyway,
let's see. All right, so we want to go to video number 2 that we had lined up for the show.
Yeah.
And let's see. I'm gonna go right here.
Matt, you got a Unabomber look thing going on there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm having impure thoughts right now because I needed a shave after that video. I was there so long.
I know, right?
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. It's gone.
Well, go ahead, Mr. B.
I got a question to run past you folks. Hitler and the Nazi regime was really well steeped in the thought of the occult and so forth, and they had been seeking information and wares about things such as time travel and so forth, and there's a lot of that sort of stuff that had gone on. Is there a chance that that's what they were doing when they were pestering around down in Antarctica, was trying to find some sort of a doorway or a vortex or something?
Yeah, that was one of the theories. Yeah, that was one of the theories. Interdimensional portals is one of the things that I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for there.
And do you think maybe this is why they sent Byrd or the admiral down afterward to try and find all of this stuff?
Yep, that was that. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, part of it was again to see what the Germans were doing around there because we knew they were messing around down there as well. Nomad, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a slightly different take on it, and here's what I think, and it could be right or wrong. I think that the Americans quickly realized how advanced the German war machine was, and what was putting out on the ground was not necessarily what was going to be there. I think they were fearful of the fact that if Germany got a hold of the UK, if the Blitz had been successful, they would have had a geographic location closer to the Arctic Circle. If you control the Arctic Circle, you control the submarine traffic and pathways for the North Atlantic, which is the Achilles heel of the US at that time. Secondly, the actual Germans themselves made no secret about the fact that they were looking to live for 1,000 years as a Reich. So they wanted to emulate past civilization. So therefore, interest in anything that was ancient and was there. Hitler was obsessed with it, and so that drove some of it. If you look at the people he surrounded himself with, these guys were absolute fruitcakes. They were not military people. They were primarily people who were obsessed with occultism and all that type of stuff. So he had a strange thing, and Hitler had a drug problem. So the issue was he could have a manic moment and make people believe, and because he was the Fuhrer, he could actually organize anything to happen. So I
Right.
think
Well,
a combination of
whatever,
paranoia
whatever.
and fear of
Yeah,
technology.
whatever he said goes. You know what I mean? But he
Yeah.
didn't. I don't think he started abusing drugs, heroin, or I think it was cocaine. I'm not quite sure
hmm
until
He was
later
on meth.
on.
He was on
meth,
Well,
meth.
no, 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 until later
methamphetamine.
on. He got like kind of hooked on it a little bit because I think they were giving it to him too because of he had Parkinson's. You know what I
hmm
mean? He started
hmm
having Parkinson's. There's a lot
hmm
of again, the documentary that I watched, they had a lot of footage of him. His left hand would shake. You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
had early stages of Parkinson's too. So go ahead, Nomad.
Yeah, sorry. Just bring it forward from all of this Admiral Byrd thing back to present time. Listen, the world is on the brink of nuclear Armageddon if things don't get themselves squared away. Number one. Number two, there are already plans in place for post-apocalypse survival. Antarctica is geographically ideal for that. The two countries that people always think about in case of nuclear Armageddon, and where all Jeff Bezos guys and all those billionaires want to go, is New Zealand, right, and
Mhm.
Australia. Okay, so there's that. Then there's another side of it, the geosynchronous orbits of satellites. The Antarctic itself has a number of unique characteristics. Its reflectivity from the ice makes it difficult enough to see certain things. It blinds satellites in a certain way because the spectrum that it actually looks at from a light point of view, it's there. Ice can cover stuff. There are many instances in any conflict where ancient enemies even used ice to actually use it as a way of camouflage to move certain things, either people, weapons, or vessels, all right? And then the last thing is we have a seed bank in Europe where all the seeds of the world are kept. I think it's in Scandinavia somewhere, one as well in Switzerland. And so some of the ideas about Antarctica right now is that some of the lessons of the last World War was that how did we survive? What happened if the heavy water that Fogman talked about 2 weeks ago that the Germans had access to? What happens if they had an atom bomb? And so, what would have happened? How would we have survived? So the Antarctica is primarily a refrigerator of civilization, of time, possibly technology, and more importantly, resources that could be tapped into. My opinion.
Yep, most definitely. And since you brought up nuclear Armageddon, that's going to be next Wednesday's show at I-12 GIA. So we'll kind of give that a quick plug. It's going to be a special event, and we're going to be discussing specifically nuclear Armageddon and everything that's happening in our world right now. So let's see. I think we have a. Yeah,
We got this video ready right now. We
all right.
just first video we showed was Antarctica treaty Treaty explained. Now we're going to go same thing. Non-explorations is the next video we got coming on, and then after that one, they got another video about aliens ? And Antarctica shutdown would be number 4. So let's get moving.
Okay, let's do this. Yeah,
there's no time constraints here on the Xenophiles. It's when one of our old butts start yawning. That's it.
Okay. All right.
So,
Okay. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's run it.
Let me get it up there, set up. Yeah, wanted to make sure it was the correct one before I blasted it. So let's see. America Treaty. Oh boy.
Trust us, folks. We are highly trained professionals.
Oh,
We know
absolutely.
what we're doing.
Oh yeah, it's all there. It just gotta, the list that I'm seeing, it all says, see, that's the treaty one. That's not the one we want. It's just the way it's showing up
Right. That's
for
weird.
me. Sorry about that, man. All right, here we go. Here it is. I fixed it.
All right.
And I lost it.
For centuries, resources and square footage have been the source of conflict, violence, and diplomacy in every corner of the world.
Oh.
Conquerors, explorers, and
That's the wrong
countries,
one.
all making claims to pieces of the earth.
See?
Not sure what happened there. That's a wrong video. That's the first one that we ran.
Let's see here. And I gotta knock them all down. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are pretty close to being professionals.
Yeah.
It's on me tonight.
Technical difficulties.
All right, I got it, and boom, loading it up, and this is the one.
We'll give it a try here. Let's see what we're.
We got it. We got it this time.
All right.
Trust me.
Nope.
For centuries, resources and square footage have been the source of conflict, violence, and diplomacy in every corner of the world. Conquerors,
Are you
explorers, and
freaking
countries,
serious?
all making claims
nope,
to
that's
pieces
not
of the
it.
earth.
Okay. All right. So
Why don't you play
again,
it backwards? We'll hear
again.
here's the devil,
Hold
there's the
on.
devil.
This is the email.
Yes.
Okay, this is the first one we watched. Antarctica Treaty explained. Second one is non-exploration, right?
We didn't do that one. I don't know what that other video that we watched was, but that wasn't the one that I sent. The second one with all the weird one.
Well,
With
this is what I'm trying to tell you. See,
battleship.
this is supposed to be the next video that we show.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Okay,
That's-
so and this is where it takes me to.
I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird.
I mean, we can have our own conspiracy,
yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
and this is what it took me to. Right
See,
here.
that's not. Yeah. That's
For
weird.
centuries, resources and square footage have been the source of
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna trip you out more now. You ready?
Okay.
All right, hold on a second. Let me get it ready. Okay, bring it back.
Holy shit.
Okay, watch. All right, so now, right? All right, I clicked on the second video, right? Okay, see my cursor?
Yeah. I
And
see
now,
it.
now I'm going to click on the Renee portal. He says,
Yeah, no shit.
now I'm going to click on video number 3, which should be about the aliens part, right? Okay.
Right, but it's not. It's going to be.
I
the
don't
same
know.
thing. I do. Go ahead.
See, it's the same. It's the fucking same thing, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
That is.
Hold
that's
on.
okay.
Got to show everybody.
Let's do number 4.
But for reasons that are as apparent as a breath-stealing cold that
Okay.
greets its visitors,
Guys,
Antarctica
you're
has
killing
remained a
me with
place
the
for
fucking
peace,
private chat,
cooperation,
man.
and science
You
for more than
block-
5
it blocks
decades,
my screen.
thanks to a historic agreement.
Just say what
On
you
June
want to
23rd,
say.
1961,
Anyways,
the
okay.
Antarctic Treaty officially.
Let's do
Boom.
number 4.
All right, let's go to number 4. This is all live, ladies and gentlemen. All right, is the email back up, and here is. See, this is what we're supposed to be seeing right here. This one, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That should
Right?
be number 4. But it's,
Yeah.
I don't know
All
what.
right,
happened
so
to the
let's
other
see. This one's number 4. Oh God, B. Fuck.
ones.
I see you, B. I see you. fuck off. All right, here goes number 4. All right. This one's interesting. The reason why I say is because it's different.
Yeah. It's not the same as the
Wow.
All right. Here's Antarctica shut down. This is the video number 4. All right. Wait a minute now. Well, let's investigate one more. We're getting it together. This is almost like Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. We're getting the data. All right. So now I'm going to click the thumbnail down here that has the pyramids. Okay. Not the link, but the thumbnail. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Trillion-ton iceberg, which
that's the one. That's one.
Goes to that video.
We're just hearing has broken off Antarctica.
And that's this is the shutdown one.
Right. So let's do that one.
Yeah. So all right. We're done with this. And now we're gonna watch the video, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Okay. Fucking retarded. Oh man. Okay, let me get that.
Wow.
I know, right?
Shit. Catastrophic is what I can say right now. That's it, man. I mean, if we haven't lost them yet, thanks a lot, everybody, for sticking around.
No
You're an engineer. I know what I was doing.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Trillion-ton iceberg, which we're just hearing has broken off Antarctica.
Sudden burst of solar activity, which melted down those ice sheets, but that's not what I go with.
I don't know how she knew it was a trillion-ton iceberg. Maybe she measured the water.
38 people disappeared overnight while headed from Chile to Antarctica.
Locked in away ice, Antarctica guards mysteries that might just rewrite the story of our past and shake up everything we thought we knew. A former naval officer and a journalist have shared shocking stories on how they discovered an entrance to a secret alien base containing UFOs in Antarctica. How did this naval flight engineer Brian discover this secret alien base? How is the world power trying to hide it from the entire planet? Join us on this intriguing journey as we explore the terrifying truths of the U.S. terrifying claim that aliens are hiding in Antarctica.
We're back on track.
The naval officer's revelation. In January 2015, investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe stumbled upon a mysterious Antarctic tale when she got an email from Brian, a retired U.S. naval flight engineer with a wild story from his time in Antarctica in the 80s and 90s. Brian dropped a bombshell, claiming he saw some seriously strange stuff during his 4,000 flight hours over Antarctica.
Naval flight engineer. He's asked me to call him only Brian.
The juiciest part of the story is that he stumbled upon a massive, perfect circle carved into the Antarctic ice sheet, leading to a glowing cave entrance below. But here's where it gets even weirder. When Brian tried to get closer, all the gadgets in his aircraft went haywire, and they had to do an emergency restart. After that encounter, shady authorities confiscated records and gave Brian and his crew the silent treatment. Intrigued by the craziness of Brian's story, Linda dug deeper.
Something archaeological in Antarctica.
Brian later spilled the beans on what went down. In 1987, during a resupply flight out of McMurdo Station, Brian and his crew got last-minute orders to pick up something from a remote campsite in Antarctica's interior. When they arrived, they found the camp trashed and deserted, with no sign of human activity anywhere. This creepy scenario kicked off a string of disappearances at Antarctic stations. Odd radio bursts in strange languages popped up before each disappearance, coming from some unknown source deep under the ice. As the crew got jittery, Brian's co-pilot spotted a big shiny craft silently cruising past their cockpit. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie. A white, smooth-surfaced, lozenge-shaped vessel over 100 feet in diameter. Brian did what he was supposed to do and reported it when they got back. Here's where things get dicey. Men in black suits showed up at McMurdo, accompanied by big-shot naval commanders. They ordered Brian to retract his report about the weird aircraft, but he refused, facing threats of serious consequences. Weeks later, while checking out a remote area, Brian picked up a faint distress signal from inside an ice shelf. He traced it to a bizarre circular hole in the ice, glowing mysteriously. But as they circled to check it out, their plane went dark, all systems shut down. It was freaky, but luckily, they got backup power and made it out okay. Back at McMurdo, Brian sent a coded alert about the strange ice hole, but surprisingly, a bunch of classified convoys headed there. Brian then found himself grilled by a panel of suited folks from DARPA, who warned him to keep his mouth shut about the weird sightings in Antarctica. As if that wasn't enough, Brian connected the dots to unsolved cases of missing scientists and abandoned research outposts in Antarctica over the years. It's like a frozen X-Files down there. Haunted by a sense of responsibility, Brian carried immense guilt for keeping quiet about the unsettling incidents in Antarctica, knowing his fellow servicemen faced threats for speaking out. Luckily, he found an ally in Linda Howe, a dedicated investigator eager to bring suppressed accounts to light and expose the truth behind a potential Antarctic cover-up. Over several years, Linda conducted thorough investigations, gathering testimonies from military witnesses supporting Brian's claims. They spoke of advanced airships near Antarctica, strange IC radio transmissions, and USO, popularly referred to as unidentified submerged objects, moving at mind-boggling speeds in the Southern Ocean. Classified satellite imagery revealed temporary domed installations in Antarctica, mysteriously destroyed to hide covert activities. Linda also uncovered the obituaries of numerous researchers who specialized in Antarctic studies and died prematurely after incidents on the ice. Further digging exposed decades of secretive expeditions led by powerful military and scientific entities to Antarctic locations, raising questions about their true objectives. Despite Antarctica being a scientific preserve, geopolitical tensions have risen due to overlapping territorial claims, sparking fears of resource exploitation and nuclear deployment. Today, Linda faces challenges from mysterious security agencies as she digs deeper into Antarctica's escalating secrecy and security. However, mainstream support for her investigations is growing. The fate of life on our planet depends on transparency about Antarctica's future, a transparency consistently denied by those in power. At this crucial juncture, we must stand with truth seekers like Linda and confront reality with an open but critical mind. As revelations about Antarctica's secrets emerge, our focus should be on seeking wisdom rather than succumbing to fear. It's time to prioritize facts over suppression or denial, even if it means grappling with unsettling truths that may reshape human history as we understand it. Brian's extraterrestrial Antarctic encounters. Brian's time flying over Antarctica turned into a wild sci-fi adventure against the icy beauty of the continent. Researchers disappeared, got scared, and wouldn't spill the beans, adding a spooky vibe to Brian's story. But the real head-scratcher is that Brian kept seeing shiny silver things doing crazy moves in the bright Antarctic skies, defying all known science. On one flight over the Queen Maud mountain range, Brian and his crew saw shiny silver discs, perfectly round, pop up one after the other from behind an icy peak. Floating towards Mount Fridtjof in a neat line, they were about 30 to 40 yards wide, and their smooth surfaces didn't shine, making them look solid against the blue sky. And get this, they moved like nothing we humans could make. Synchronized spins, crazy speed-ups, and mid-air rotations with no wings or jets. After 15 minutes of this weird movement, the discs zipped.
I think, right? I think that the disc that we're seeing here, and when I was younger, all the sci-fi movies always had a disc, alien spacecraft, no diamond shape, no cigar shape, none of that stuff like that, right? And I think Roswell, but there was incidents before Roswell. They just screwed up on Roswell and said, hey, we caught a flying disc or whatever. Anyhow, I think that that's the technology that we have is from that alien species. And I think it's the Greys and all that species of aliens, right? I think that's the kind of alien technology that we have.
That's very possible.
The stuff we're seeing now, I mean, I think it's even more advanced, right? But, maybe we got some alien weapons from this technology there. Maybe we can hold our own if they decide, they're going to land on, the White House lawn. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, yeah, the discs and the orbs are pretty much, the discs and the orbs are pretty much universal. It seems like.
Yeah. But, I mean, guys, what do you think?
Go ahead, Nomad. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I think there's something there, right? Next thing is, anywhere in the world, in history and civilization, the unknown always brings a degree of fear and paranoia. And from the first time that man discovered fire, he didn't just discover fire, he discovered light, he discovered superstition. But you can't discount technology and evidence of that. Here's the other side of it, right? Deep space is cold. Everything is cold. Metals that can withstand cold, super cold. The coldest place on Earth, apart from the depths of the ocean, is Antarctica. Antarctica is actually colder than the Arctic. So the metallurgy, the construction of, if you explore space, NASA's astronauts, Russian cosmonauts practice in deep sea. So the ocean has a lot of suitable training scenarios which can be used in deep space exploration. In fact, some of the shapes that we have in nature, some of the shapes we have for submarines, some of the shapes we have for radar reflecting technology is what we're seeing coming across the skies on quite a regular basis. So this technology, while it's relatively new to us because our consciousness and our ability to detect extraterrestrial technology.
I disagree on it being new to us. I mean, the government, whoever, black budget type of deals.
Yeah,
I mean, look, they know that this stuff is going on, man.
I agree with you on that.
I truly believe that. Go ahead.
I agree. What I'm saying is that our ability to detect this technology has only come into being in the last 50, 60 years. So if you look at ancient stuff, if you look at ancient texts in any of the world religions, there's mention of spirits coming from the sky, chariots of the gods. There's everything from Indian folklore, going back to the
chariots
Sumerians,
of fire,
the Persians, chariots of fire.
Yeah.
So we tend to describe stuff proportional to where our literacy and our knowledge of such things is, in keeping. On the Bayeux Tapestry back in 1066, William the Conqueror, he's showing invading England, a French king, but right across it is a comet, and then behind that is something else that doesn't look like a comet. It's chasing the comet. So we have instances in lots of civilizations that we have alien technology somewhere. That's my point.
There's another portrait that was painted, by a well-known painter like Da Vinci or something like that, and he has the picture is of the Virgin Mary.
I think it's Raphael.
Yeah,
Raphael.
But behind the Virgin Mary or the Blessed Mother, there is a man with his dog. Okay, and the man is pointing up into the air.
I know the one you're talking about.
And what he's pointing to is clearly what we know today as a UAP or a UFO. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Well, sure, Egyptian hieroglyphics.
If anybody wants to research this, 4 of us in here. I'm doing other things, my job, talking on the show. If somebody wants to grab that picture, because I think that would be great to show the viewers what we're talking about. if anybody doesn't have anything else to add, we'll move forward.
Good. Nomad, did you have something real quick?
Yeah, just last one. If you think of all if you think of, we said we were obsessed in 2010, 2012 with the Mayan prophecy and all this other nonsense, right? Here's it wasn't nonsense because proportional to their knowledge. But here's the thing: most of the best examples of extraterrestrial type aircraft or vehicles are from old Meso civilizations, Incas, Aztecs. Where are they located? Central and South America, a lot closer to the Antarctic than would be. And if you think about so they would have seen stuff more often because of proximity. So what I'm saying is, just there's a little bit of arrogance when it comes to science. They tend to stay within a certain conduit and stay within that. But primitive people will explain stuff in any way they can, and by virtue of imagery or folklore or spoken word, they're going to explain something. So there is something there. And here's the thing: why are governments spending money going down there? So there's something down there that they need to either capture, secure, or copy and reverse engineer.
Well, yeah, if you're going to, again, this is a black budget. Okay, we're sending them out there for whatever they want everybody to believe that they're sending them out there for. But that's what we're doing the Xenophiles for, is because we have a feeling that they're not. And I'd like to thank you for that one, Nomad. If anybody else is all set, we'll continue.
We do have that a comment there from Anne about the 15th century paintings.
That's the one.
Madonna,
100%.
right?
Thank you, Anne.
Okay. I don't see nothing in the private chat, so I don't think anybody was looking for it. We're going to move forward.
Behind Mount Fridtjof, leaving Brian and his crew totally stunned. They couldn't believe what they just saw in Antarctica's skies. The tech on display that day hinted at way smarter beings working over Earth's southern pole than we thought possible. But here's the real head-scratcher in Brian's tale. The discovery of a massive hole in the Antarctic ice leading to a glowing cave below. The hole was smoother than any modern drill could make, with a cool blue glow. As if that wasn't enough, all their gear went haywire when they got close, such as radar, navigation, controls, you name it. Everything was okay anywhere else, but within a kilometer of that weird ice cave, it became total chaos. Brian filed a report about it all, detailing electromagnetic craziness and spotting 3 fast-moving objects shooting out of the cave at super speeds. But guess what? The report got snatched away by some unknown dudes who wanted everyone to keep quiet. This whole thing messed with Brian's head. It reminded him of old stories about mysterious spaces under Antarctica's surface from Admiral Byrd's secret naval expedition in 1947. Brian even risked solo flights over the anomaly, where wild electrical stuff messed with his gear. On his last flight, before they banned him from the zone, Brian saw a silver disc chilling inside the ice cave. Then, boom, the disc shot up, blasted a crazy light, and fried all of Brian's gear. After Brian and his plane finally got back on track 20 minutes later, they discovered they had landed 13 kilometers away from the strange cave. Brian couldn't recall how the plane moved during the blackout. Despite attempts to return to the coordinates, constant bad weather and a strict no-fly zone meant he never laid eyes on the Antarctic cave entrance again. In the years that followed, Brian quietly connected with other pilots who confirmed seeing silver discs near Antarctic bases. A colleague stationed near Euler Peak even shared proof of unidentified submerged object activity in the Weddell Sea, with metallic pods surfacing and diving without a splash. Another friend got hold of satellite thermal printouts showing heat signatures under Wilkes Land, hinting at temporary habitation bubbles or facilities. Comparing notes painted a picture of covert activities beneath miles of Antarctic ice, possibly linked to the silver aircraft Brian witnessed performing crazy moves over the glaciers. Today, the memories of those bizarre experiences still haunt Brian at night. The truth, whether frightening or amazing, weighs on him. But Brian isn't alone. There's a growing group of veterans in the know about Antarctica's mysteries, eager for disclosure. With space agencies planning bases over Earth's southern pole, our civilization might have to face the unsettling reality of what or who already lives in Antarctica's deepest corners. Brian's story is the key to unlocking Antarctica's ultimate secret. It challenges our ideas about human history and raises questions about our place on a remarkably intelligent planet. Even if some revelations are tough, wisdom tells us to embrace the truth in the collective light of understanding, rather than let it linger in the darkness of ignorance and denial. Confronting reality with an open yet discerning mind is our best way forward in evolution. Parallel accounts in history. Brian's mind-blowing stories about his Antarctic adventures strangely echoed similar tales from decades ago by the celebrated American.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just something I just thought of. I forgot to say earlier. Forgive me for interrupting the video. Did you ever hear of a thing called cryogenics?
Yes.
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Well, if you don't want to expend energy or resources, imagine. Like, I think, and I'm just throwing this out there, and listeners can jump in. Obviously, why would you spend energy and limited resources if you come from another planet, another place, when you could find a natural cryogenic or refrigerator on a planet that has something in it for you? And where would you go?
Well,
somewhere where it's cold, like
thing.
space and whatever, you know?
Right. Here's my thing, right? I believe, my opinion, I believe a majority of these UAPs and civilizations here on Earth, already here on Earth. And I say that because we only know and explored only like 12% of our ocean. We have lakes that have very, very deep depth that I don't know if we have technology for it or whatever, but you got to get down there pretty far. Now, I don't know, and I'm sure some of it is top secret, so I'm assuming that these subs can go a little bit deeper with what they say they can. Does anybody have a knowledge on what the average sub could go down in its depth before the hull gets smashed in?
Well, for certain,
anybody
for certain, we've got submarines that go as deep as the Titanic.
Well, one of them didn't, but it didn't come back up and went that deep.
Okay, but for real, does anybody know? Or
well, that's pretty easy to find out. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something, Nomad. You know, for example, 80 degrees below zero and measured wind gusts of 187 miles per hour, whatever the wind chill for that works out to be.
Yeah, Antarctica, 150 below zero.
Yeah, that's very common. So,
could I pose something here under that particular genre?
Sure.
We all know what temperatures are and what freezes at what point here on this Earth. If indeed there are extraterrestrials, who's to say that whatever it is that they have doesn't freeze at much lower temperatures than what are exhibited on even Antarctica?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Are you done, B?
That's my point. I mean,
yeah.
Any feedback?
Nomad, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I do, buddy. Yeah, there's a thing called the 5 Deeps expedition. Expedition. What the hell am I saying? But anyway, 21,000 feet is the limit for the deep sea submersible. So the deepest place on Earth that we've mapped is around 21,000 feet. When we went missing when we had nuclear subs gone missing, very, very, very few navies around the world have actually any type of capability, and even our enemies will even ask to help out if we need something to be recovered. So again, the pressure of atmospheres on a hull of a submarine. I mean, there's always the limit as you see it in the movies, and then it starts making noise and crushing up. You have to equalize pressure for anything. Equally, what I'm saying is, the depths of the ocean and the pressures of that are not dissimilar from some aspects of deep space, from temperature, from hull structure and integrity, to the technology to maintain integrity of a shape of a hull and to keep the inhabitants free. So I think that there's a recovery of some technology going on, and there's a race to who gets it first. And that's what I firmly believe in.
There has to be, right? Wouldn't you say so? I mean, because for me, okay, from the 70s, and we were in the middle 80s, and come on, we were still, fucking Walkman. I mean, give me a break. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, boom, shit just started happening like no tomorrow, the 90s. You know what I mean? Everybody's got the cell phone. It didn't matter how big it was, part of the culture at the time and what you could get, right? I believe still that that these aliens, some of them live here on Earth, and I say some of them lived in some of them maybe there's an entire species underwater. Who knows, right? Then I got you, Nomad. You can just
I got you. Challenger Deep is the deepest part of the ocean, and it's situated between Indonesia and Japan. So it's in that area of the Pacific, and that's the one that the Triton. It's a private submersible DSV, deep sea submersible vehicle.
That's the one that exploded, right?
No, that's another one that went off. That was a commercial one, but no, the deepest
commercial one. Yes.
Yeah, the deepest trenches in the ocean are called the Marianas, the Mariana Trenches, and then Pacific. So if you check up anybody, including listeners and viewers, Challenger Deep is the deepest part of the Mariana Trenches. That's the deepest part that we found so far.
Okay, how far do you think it goes down, Nomad?
I think the first they went down was over 21,000 feet, but they feel there's a lot more.
Okay, and does anybody have an idea, including viewers, on submarines in World War II? I think their max depth was like 12,000 feet or something like that.
In World War II,
or less, 7,000 feet.
Less.
I mean,
less.
I don't know. But that's what I'm trying to say. So nuclear submarines that we have today, and again, they'll tell the people what they want the people to know, because the rest will be top secret. I don't know. What do those go down 10,000 feet? Anybody have an idea? Nomad, just talk, bro.
Yeah, okay, I'll jump in. Okay, all right. When that aircraft went missing, when that Malaysian Airlines went missing, MH, whatever it was, flight 4 or 5 years ago, and all the people on board were done, and they said that the possibility of it going off track, either suicide by the pilot was one option. Other thing was something happening. But I tell you, they're looking at now. Private companies are looking now in the Mariana Trenches, which is between Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia, and the Sea of Japan. So the thing is completely off course. But if it goes into somewhere in there, nothing that we have commercially, unless there's military involvement, can recover that. I'll tell you something that's nothing to do with this right now, but is the same type of thing. I was in a part of Afghanistan going back in the early 2000s, and the locals told us, you don't go here. This is bad place. Bad spirits live here. And we said, what are you talking about? Through a translator. And they said, the rocks, the mountains, the gods, they don't want you here. Here's what happened. We could what we used to call flip to the bird. We could ping a satellite directly above us, and we'd wait for the window of opportunity to appear, and we'd ping it, and we'd do our thing and send back we had. None of our technology worked except line of sight. So satellite technology wasn't working in the area. So
in that area that they said
in that area, Afghanistan. This is Afghanistan. Now the highest mountain in the world is Mount Everest. There's mountains higher than that in the ocean. So there's no way in hell we know what's down there. We as you said earlier, Blaze man, we only know a fraction of what's down there. So if you wanted to hide anything extraterrestrial, the best place to hide is in plain sight, is under the damn ocean. And honesty as well.
Right.
And aerodynamically, from a design point of view, If you copy nature, our aircraft resemble birds in flight, our submarines imitate the shape and silhouettes of sea mammals. So what is not beyond the realm of possibility is something that can fly through space and have a small trim or have a small, profile by way of resistance to what it's traveling through for temperature, hull integrity, and everything else. A circle is the perfect shape. A triangle is the perfect shape.
Yeah. Excuse me. Ian says in World War II, the max depth for a sub in that era was 4,000 feet.
400.
Right.
400 feet.
I mean 400 feet. Go ahead. And I'm saying shit like fucking 5,000 feet and 12,000 feet, and nobody in the panel is like, Blaze, you're way off. Nobody says a word.
Well, I was trying to.
I
You
mean,
wouldn't let me get a word in edgewise there, buddy.
Oh, stop it! You're just in class today. You said what?
I can smell it from here. It's
right. All right. So okay, guys, let's continue the video and we'll talk some more.
American polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd. Byrd's reputation.
I'm sorry. Before we continue that, I have to, because it was big conversation that we were just talking about.
Your mic is really bad.
Yeah, you keep going into wobble wobble land there, buddy.
Yeah. Wobble wobble.
Yeah. Wobble.
Yeah.
How about now? That better or?
That's better. Yeah. Nobody sees any black helicopters or drones overhead or anything.
Right. Is it? It's terrible, right? Saying it's terrible.
Does your face hurt?
Oh God!
It's killing us.
Listen, I mean, I'm hearing myself perfect right here.
Yeah.
My instrument is.
It's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the reason why I wanted to know that is I know that there is a little. Situation like you guys are experiencing when I put up multiple videos and stuff on my screen. So it probably takes my processor a little bit longer to be normal. I don't have anything running and you're saying I sound better, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Let me throw this up. Okay. Here it is.
Yeah.
This is the picture of the Madonna. Okay. And beautifully painted. Here she is. Beautiful. And listen, there was no. I mean, the only thing that these people witnessed that something was flying that they knew in their mind automatically when they seen it was a fucking bird, right? Okay. So, we're sitting here now in 2023 and we're like, seeing shit in the sky. And we're like,
what year was that again?
We seen this and we seen this and we seen this, right? Okay. What did I say? 2025?
No, 2023.
Oh, whatever. 24.
When it gets to 25, so.
Time travel. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I like that better. So, I mean, look, this guy is drawing this. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it's right there. It's right here. Not only that, there's the man. He's like this, because the sun or the craft was illuminating bright.
That's Photoshop. That's the car from the
Now and then you see the dog. There's a dog right beside him. And again, there it is. That is that's the painting of the Madonna. Anybody besides Jokes to Be want to go with this or?
Nope. Let's continue on.
All right.
I don't know why we're seeing your laptop or your desktop.
Yeah.
Somebody's desktop. Yeah, man, there are so many technical difficulties tonight. It has got to be some kind of.
I think the men in black are doing something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're not saying anything. NSA from. Hi guys in Maryland. How are you doing, guys?
Right.
Hello, I'm back again.
Thank
you.
The video didn't come up.
No. No.
I can hear it, and then I look, and all you
nothing.
can see is my desktop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing.
All right. Yeah.
That's
okay.
weird.
Somebody's messing around.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
and your mic's going again too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know, guys.
Here we go.
Verda 94.
Antarctic adventures strangely echoed similar tales
Let's
from
give
decades
this,
ago by the
video,
celebrated American polar
good listening
explorer
to.
Admiral Richard Byrd. Byrd's
there
reputation
he is.
soared after leading groundbreaking air expeditions over the North and South Poles in 1926 and 1929, making him a national hero. However, it was Byrd's 1947 claim of stumbling upon a massive entrance to a hidden underground world during an Antarctic expedition that truly stunned the post-war public. According to his story, Byrd descended for miles over ice-free lands teeming with mountains, forests, vegetation, and even gigantic animals. He was, however, ordered to turn back by threatening disc-shaped aircraft. When Byrd returned to the U.S., his incredible account was quickly suppressed under mysterious pressure from authorities.
In the future, I can see a time when it will be very, very important strategically.
Similar to Brian's experience, Admiral Byrd faced a swift campaign to confiscate records and silence all expedition survivors about any unusual Antarctic sightings. Byrd's fame and credibility made it tough to discredit his strange testimony. The orchestrators of the Antarctic cover-up realized that their usual tactics of ridicule and denial wouldn't work against such a respected national figure. Byrd underwent documented interrogation under U.S. Navy psychiatric observation before abruptly retracting his story weeks later. Expedition members, once vocal about Antarctica, suddenly refused to comment, and Byrd withdrew from public life for the rest of his days. The government's message was crystal clear. Reputations and lives were on the line for anyone daring to breach imposed confidentiality. Suppressing Byrd's account only fueled greater suspicion about what terrifying truth officials were working so hard to hide. While authorities dismissed Byrd's admissions as polar delirium, millions remained unconvinced, especially given the stonewall denials against an admired pioneer adventurer. If Antarctica concealed anything resembling Byrd's descriptions of a lush inner world with advanced disk crafts and mammoth-sized creatures, the implications for science, history, and society were staggering. Speculation initially focused on perceived national security interests, geostrategic competition for Antarctic resources with rival superpowers, and the desire to maintain a public perspective of normalcy. The U.S. Navy likely feared Soviet weaponization of a hidden Antarctic domain against America's Pacific vulnerability. Scientific institutions dreaded revelations about the mining existence of field theory physics and advanced medicine for a century. The political elite wished to avoid social instability by disclosing that existing maps of Earth's geology were disturbingly incomplete. The immense secrecy imposed by several leading governments following Byrd's suppressed account suggested interests far beyond conventional, nationalistic, scientific, or ideological goals. Byrd's testimony hinted that Antarctica concealed secrets challenging the entirety of human knowledge and origins. Declassified FBI documents confirmed federal surveillance on every member of Byrd's 1947 expedition until their passing, showing a security threat tied specifically to their personal experiences rather than just geopolitical security coincident with the Cold War era. Clearly, authorities understood that the implications of Byrd's admissions surpassed ordinary spatial territoriality or technological advances. By timing the public release of his extraordinary Antarctic revelations while still stationed on the frozen continent, Admiral Byrd likely aimed to establish dominance over the narrative against suppression efforts by authorities. This strategy initially succeeded as American press circulated incredulous headlines about the famous polar explorer discovering a lost temperate world filled with advanced life beyond Earth's known South Pole borders. The illusion, however, shattered when Byrd was forced to retract his statements under confidentiality a few weeks later. This allowed the government's counteroffensive to tarnish his name, and Antarctica faded from public interest for decades until new retired military eyewitnesses like Brian emerged. Yet, the cracks in the enforced Antarctic secrecy slowly widened. Brian's incredible testimony of encountering strange silver disks and a glowing ice cavern deep beneath the Antarctic surface once again echoed Admiral Byrd's description of vast, hollowed interior domains filled with peculiar crafts. The consistent eyewitness accounts spanning decades, now linked by Linda's investigations, built a bridge of credibility that authorities have tirelessly tried to demolish since the 1940s through media manipulation and intimidation tactics. In contrast to Byrd's era, where centralized mass media control and unchecked technocratic elite authority prevailed, today's internet-powered paradigm shift toward data democratization has made the suppression of the Antarctic enigma impossible. A global movement erupted on social media around the hashtag Antarctica Truth Campaign, spearheaded by Linda's research, challenging previous taboos surrounding the icy continent's concealed secrets. These secrets were deemed implausible for establishment circles to acknowledge, yet too consistent over successive generations of observers to dismiss. All this time, Antarctica's opacity hid in plain sight, reflected in world maps conspicuously framing its vague outlines, but leaving the interior shrouded in an information void. While scientists humorously discuss fully mapping distant planetary bodies like Mars, they acknowledge their ignorance about the vast Antarctic interface conditions that separate Earth's crust from its churning outer core underneath the ice sheet. As one recent scientific study concluded, it seems improbable that Amundsen and Scott could have raced to the South Pole across hundreds of miles of unexplored mountain ranges whose existence never factored into their travel plans. In simpler terms, whether due to nuclear activity altering the Antarctic climate or the cycles of civilizations rising and falling, advanced species might have called Antarctica home eons before mankind. Linda's investigations repeatedly encountered a coordinated campaign to keep the curtain lowered over Antarctica's transcendent secrets, passing hands from military agencies to archaeological establishments and connecting power centers across continents through the decades. However, as exiled scientists and defecting private contractors consolidated testimonies for public release, the enforced ignorance over humanity's southernmost frontier approached a reckoning. What emerged next held promise for uniting global society.
Yeah, I'm listening to the same thing, and he's saying the same thing over and over again, just multiple ways. One of the things that I'm just looking at, I'm looking online and looking at other stuff, looking at some scientific papers and stuff, just because some stuff is reminding me of stuff we've previously talked about. You heard the terminology called terraforming, where if we find a Class M planet, we can basically use it as an alternate to Earth if we mess up on this one. So with the amount of interest in space exploration, blah blah blah, especially with the lunar stuff, the Chinese just landed a craft on the dark side of the moon, not the Pink Floyd one, and they're looking to try and extrapolate stuff from that, and some of the samples are known. My point is, if you may, just as an idea to throw out there, Antarctica could also be a research laboratory. If we can find a distant planet and we can terraform it, we can use the Antarctica itself as a living laboratory. If we can, something that's frozen millions of miles, billions of miles from the sun, but maybe a moon, which is a satellite of one of our planets in our solar system. The Antarctic itself, the conditions of deep space, I keep coming back to this, deep space, deep ocean, and Antarctica, they're not dissimilar in challenges from an engineering point of view or from a habitation point of view. If you can protect something from the extreme temperatures on Antarctica or even the Arctic, you can do the same on a planet. So I'm just saying there's a lot more to this than people may just dismiss.
Right. They could have a base there, like you said, in case whatever they build like an ark or whatever to go to another planet, but that planet is has a lot of ice. You know what I mean? Nomad. And so they're training these people there for that reason. I don't know. It's just
Well,
that's the whole point of this show, is to kind of think
yeah.
outside the box, so what other reason would we be there for?
Yeah. Good
What
point.
what other reason, Fogman?
Well, it's very possible, like we talked about earlier, resources, natural resources, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's probably going to be the biggest one, untapped resources. And research in general, sure, it's a cold environment, normal scientific research. But yeah, Nomad's definitely onto something, though, with the environment. The only thing I would like to add, though, is that it would have to be, it would be atmosphere. So, because there would have to be oxygen breathing of some type.
Right. And is the air thinner there because it's so cold?
I wouldn't think. I mean, that's pretty much constant.
I mean, like there's a difference.
Constant,
There's a difference in Denver. They call it mile high for a reason. And you're up there, and you know what I mean. I don't know, but
yeah, Mr. B, what do you got, buddy?
Let me throw this one out at you. We've heard the information that Brennan found some subglacial, if you will, utopian sort of existence where they have lush greenery and large animals and so forth.
Right.
Perhaps it actually is there in existence, and our government or the secret hush people are trying to do something so that they can prepare a, if you will, pre-made bomb shelter.
Yeah.
For the continuation of humanity.
That was one of the theories, was the global elites and all that kind of crap having shelters.
Right.
That's where you'd want to go.
But that's the kind of stuff we kind of want to talk about, though, Fogman. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I know, Matt. I have just to go on Mr. B's point. One of the things that you need to begin and sustain life in any atmosphere is bacteria, and bacteria is found in Antarctica. There's fresh water under that ice. That ice itself is fresh water. So I mean, I mean, anyone who's done any Arctic training with the military, even though it's ice, it's got resources you can utilize for shelter. You can use it for whatever, right? So it's not beyond the realms of possibility. If you put resources to something, you can certainly sustain a small community. But when you have evidence and you can see creatures which have never seen daylight in the depths of the ocean being able to survive, and they have evolved to be able to operate under extreme pressures, extreme cold, and can live there. And bacteria is primarily it's in what they call the primordial soup, the original life that came to Earth, whatever way it came. It came from an asteroid, it came from the guy up high, I don't know. But whatever fluffy cloud you believe in, life began and came out of the sea, out of the depths of something. So you've got living relatives of dinosaurs and creatures of that time. Birds are related to some of the dinosaurs that once walked the earth, crocodiles, blah, blah, blah. But bacteria is present in lots of plants that we're looking at. And if you can get bacteria growing, you can start an ecosystem. If you start an ecosystem, you can sustain. So Antarctica, to me, is just the world's only unique research and development lab. Outside of that, listen, every government organization that has a vested interest from a military point of view puts out disinformation. So they will use...
They have to.
They have to. So they keep conspiracy theories going and they latch onto it. And there's always a grain of truth in whatever BS they put out. So they want you to stay away. But the most important thing that governments do is they give the public...
Well, that's what me and Fogman want to do. We want to expose them, right, buddy?
Expose them. But here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
But they always give you something to chew on. So just to keep you happy. So there is something going on. They have a vested interest. Our money is going there, so we have a right to know as best you can. There's an element of the CIA, and I looked at something that Fogman had directed us to, and it was the Find It, Fix It, Finish It crew, right? Which is the wet guys, the Black Ops guys. And I hadn't ever heard it referred to as that. But similar, every agency, intelligence agency, has a vested interest in gaining advantage. Even in peacetime, our enemies and our friends spy on each other. So this has something to do with a lot of future technology which will be rolled out, and they're trying to protect something and keep us away from it. Mm-hmm. That's all.
But we'll see. But what we're going to do is we got to get back to this video on next Friday's show, because we're all old guys.
Yep.
And we gotta say goodnight at some point, And again, we will just okay. So we'll continue this next Friday on the XENO Files, and ladies and gentlemen, we will have our SHIT together by next show. That's for sure. With that being said, I'd like to say peace and love to everybody out there. Mr. B.
I'm so glad to see that you can spell some words here and there. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a wonderful time tonight. Enjoyed the company, enjoyed the talk. It's been a rousing group of people writing in. And we will see you all again next week, everybody. Take care.
Nomad.
Thank you to everybody, you gentlemen and the listeners, everybody who makes this what it is. And it is an interesting show. Use this as an opportunity to discuss stuff that you may not have an opportunity to talk with some people of a similar open-mindedness. So good job, everyone, and a great show. Thank you again.
Thanks, buddy.
Fogman.
Yeah, tonight's fuck up was on me. Apparently, I sent links to 3 videos in one email, and they were all the same link, although I didn't pull my head out of my ass for the 4th video, because that was kind of what I wanted to get. So sorry, guys. Shit happens, So
it's all good.
Thanks and good night, folks. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, it's all good. Next week, like I said, we will have the SHIT together. With that being said, good night, everybody. Don't forget to watch FFN Radio Network Monday through Friday. Monday, Unboxed Thoughts, 7 to 8. Tuesday, The Way We See It, from 7 to 9. Wednesday, Politicking with Mr. B, from 7 to 8 p.m., followed by I-12GIA, Real Talk with Real People. Ladies and gentlemen, check all our platforms, because the event is going to go live, and you don't want to miss Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's going to be a good show.
Okay. With that being said, again, good night, everybody, and we will catch you next Friday on the XENO Files. XENO Files. I don't know why I say Xeno. We know.
Files, where we dive into the mysterious, the unexplained, and the downright otherworldly. In this cryptid corner of the airways, we'll explore alien encounters, ancient artifacts, and instrumental oddities. Buckle up, my friends, because truth is stranger than fiction, and you're about to embark on a